Welcome to the Beyond the Vines podcast, where I interview local business owners in Sonoma County to highlight small business and grow our community. I'm your host, Amy Ehlers, a mom, realtor, and Sonoma County native, and I'm excited to connect you to some amazing people in this beautiful area that we call home. Welcome back to the Beyond the Vines podcast. Thank you again for listening and joining in. I have a really fun episode ahead for you today. I am with David Lannon. He is with Paradise Found Records in Petaluma. A little bit about David before we learn more about this record store, which I am really excited to talk about. And he also brought us some fun things to see if you're watching on YouTube. David is a retail and supermarket industry veteran, and he began his career in the produce section of Boston-based Bread and Circus, rapidly working his way up to the director of operations before Whole Foods Market acquired the company. In the ensuing years of the Whole Foods Market rapid growth, Lannon developed the first Whole Foods store in San Francisco, New York, and London. That's incredible. This includes both the biggest and busiest stores in the company. Lannon would like to go on lead multiple regions of the, Lannon would go on to lead multiple regions of the Whole Foods Market, ultimately being promoted to the executive vice president in 2012, leading operations in the company. A key member of the merger team with Amazon in 2017, which I can't believe that was that long ago, Lannon oversaw the operational launch of Prime across Whole Foods Market and the first Prime Day at Whole Foods Market. He served as the member of the executive team of Whole Foods Market for 7 years, reporting to co-founder and CEO of the Whole Foods Market, John Mackey. In 2019, Lannon left his full-time role at Whole Foods Market and was inducted into the Whole Foods Market Hall of Fame. I want to know more about that. He continues to serve as a special advisor to many other leading companies in natural foods, wellness, and cannabis. David dreamed of opening a record store with his best friend, Will Paradise, ever since Will left Whole Food Market and purchased a record store in Boulder, Colorado, which became the first Paradise Found Records and Music 9 years ago. In August of 2023, so last summer, Paradise Found Records and Music opened here in Petaluma, and that dream came true. David lives with his wife, Kelly, in Sebastopol, California. Kelly is a kindergarten teacher. Together with their labs, cute, they enjoy the best of Western Sonoma County, such as hiking, biking, coffee, wine, and of course, nights in the music room spinning vinyl. And with that, I welcome you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks so much for coming. I need photos of your labs. I would love to know them.
Yes, Dusty and Miley. So,
oh, cute.
Yeah, all my dogs are named after musicians. So Dusty Springfield and Miley Cyrus.
I was going to guess Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, and then we also, we're dog friendly in the shop. So we have lots of dog parents who come in. And inevitably, their dog is named after, we have an Elvis.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, we have lots of, everybody names their dogs after musicians.
That is so fun. And I should have told you we're a dog-friendly office. So we should have had Dusty and Miley come today, actually. That would have been really fun. So tell us more about the story about Paradise Found and what inspired you to open here in Petaluma.
Well, when I left Whole Foods after Amazon acquired the company, I had started doing some other business. I did cannabis for a bit and then did some natural food consulting and stuff. But one of the things I really enjoyed, I always enjoyed music, love music, always had records. I'm Generation X, so we went through from 8-tracks, cassettes to records to CDs and to streaming and then back to records again.
Yep.
So that's why we're a little cranky because we had to pay 18 different times for the same music. But yeah, one of the things I always was excited about is I would go to Boulder, Colorado, where my good friend Will Paradise, who had left Whole Foods, opened his shop there. And I would go and help on Record Store Day, which is like a special event day on April 20th, all exclusive releases.
Wow.
People line up for hours. They did it at our shop this year, too.
Wow.
And I realized how much I missed I missed being in a retail store and just really connecting with customers. And then, the great thing about music stores is like everybody loves music. So, and everybody loves different kinds of music, and everybody wants to talk about music and get turned on to music. So it's like he had created such a community in Boulder. So I started looking for in 2022. We started looking for a location. I said, hey, why don't we do another Paradise Found? We'll do where I live in Sonoma County, and I live in Sebastopol. So we kind of looked everywhere.
Yeah.
But in the end, Petaluma has the best walkable downtown of any community in Sonoma County. And I think it also, being right on the corner, right next to a very busy hardware store. Everybody knows the Four Corners right across from the, the historical library. And essentially what we've learned over the past year is every single event in Parade starts directly in front of the shop.
Yep.
So, for example, this past Sunday was the Antique Fair. So then there's 5,000 to 10,000 people in town walking by in front of the store. So we get all sorts of people who have never been in the shop before. So every time there's an event, it has really been such a positive in terms of that location. And the community's been great. I mean, working with I know there's some nightmare stories about permits and development, but we never had we didn't have any issues in terms of that. Everything was very smooth with everybody, and just was welcoming since we opened. And it definitely is the community for us. And I also think Petaluma also has the ability, since COVID especially, you'll notice on the weekends, there's a lot of people like, I'm going to Petaluma for the day from Oakland or San Francisco.
Yep.
So we're getting a lot more. We get a lot of tourists, but we're also getting like daily tourists.
How fun.
Which is fun. So
I love that because you're meeting people from everywhere too, because you're right, it is. If you drive around downtown Petaluma on a weekend, like you're saying, it's pretty packed. Yeah. Yeah. And my office, obviously, where you're recording is right across the street from you. And I will say we love that, especially with parades and that sort of thing, because we always invite clients down and friends and family because we have seats right here. Yeah, it's so great. This is definitely one of my favorite streets.
Doesn't take much for Petaluma to throw a parade.
No, it doesn't.
Which is awesome.
Parade, party, doesn't really matter. We're all there for it.
Exactly.
For sure. That's amazing. And I feel like every time I walk by your store, you always have a good customer base in there. You're busy. Yeah,
I mean, one thing is we try to keep the doors, not today because it's 100 degrees.
Yeah, it's not today. It's not happening.
But we keep the doors open, the music's playing, and that is makes people happy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, what's going on in there? So even if folks want to just come in, like they go to lunch at Lunchette and they just want to come and vibe with us because they like the music, that's awesome. So we get both the shoppers and then also just, hey, there's a community stop in.
Wow.
People with their dogs because we give dog treats. So dogs know the shops.
Dogs know. They're like, you need a record because I need a treat.
They're like, that store's got good treats.
I love that so much. Also, Lunchette, you just made me hungry. That's my favorite salad ever.
Yeah, they're great.
So vinyl's really seen a resurgence in recent years. Why do you think there's been this comeback?
Well, I think the current generation, the younger generation that grew up with streaming only and never had any physical media.
Wow, good point.
They didn't, they were beyond DVDs, for movies. They were beyond vinyl or cassettes or CDs for music, books they're reading on the thing. And I think it got to a point, it's like, hey, I want to own my music. And
I love that.
And it's beautiful, and I think you connect more with it. So if you're, one of the biggest stars, in the world.
If you can't see it, it's Taylor Swift, everyone.
I give her a lot of credit for the vinyl resurgence.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's not like old dudes like me buying Moody Blues.
Right.
It's the younger generation they want the physical media. They can sit down, they can look at the beautiful album, they can listen to the music, and I just think you enjoy it more.
Yep.
I think when you listen to music on your phone, A, it doesn't sound very good, and B, it's you don't have that same kind of connection if you actually own the album, or it's you say it's your music. When you have it. Yeah. And I think that's part of it.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. I was on the phone right before you came in. I was on the phone with my transaction coordinator, and I was telling her that I was going to be interviewing you. And she was saying too, when it comes to records, rather than just asking Alexa to play whatever, it romanticizes the evening or whatever too. And it's such a good point. And there's such a an emphasis on that right now, like romanticizing your life, and just having that special touch. So.
Well, it's just so tempting, say, when you're listening to music on your phone to I'm just going to check Instagram, or maybe I'll just check the news.
Point.
And then you're kind of out of the vibe.
Yes.
Where a record is, 20 to 30 minutes per side. And you got to sit down and you're listening to it with both your ears. And also it can be with people in your family or friends. Yep. It's like, hey, I'm listening to this song on my phone. It's like, let's all gather around on the phone. It's like, no,
good point.
Speaker, fill up your room.
Wow.
And I think it changes the way people use parts of their house, and it just becomes a different thing.
Yeah, I know. One of my good friends has a record player that she's always got going, and it's a totally different vibe when you step into her house. I love it. How do you curate the selection in your store, and are there any genres that you really specialize in?
We get a lot of credit for the diversity of our selection.
Great.
So, I mean, I think I think the big thing is we have both the team in Boulder and the team in Petaluma. So we have a lot of diverse musical tastes. So, like we go into the shop. Hannah is the assistant manager of the shop. She does all the used buying, but she's an expert in progressive music, electronica music. Justice, who buys the new records, is very much into emo and kind of newer music. I'm kind of country Americana. I'm the expert there. Dana, who works in the shop, is also a local DJ, and he's like an expert in 60s to 80s music.
Right.
So everybody has little bit of a different expertise.
I love that.
And that brings the diversity. And then the willingness to take a chance on newer artists and new records to say, hey, we're listening to this. Patrick, who buys for both the stores, he's listening to music all the time. So we're getting not just the stuff that's going to be top of the charts, but also interesting music that we in turn can turn people on to.
Yeah.
So, for example, one of the bigger artists right now, I think I got their album here, is Hermanos Gutierrez.
Oh.
Listens to that, and they're
I was gonna say I don't know.
They're originally from Sweden.
Okay.
But they're Latin American. And they play this Americana, Latino surf music.
Oh, how cool!
And it's become super popular.
Yeah.
But I feel like in some ways we started spreading the word about that a year ago, and now
it's catching on.
Yeah. So it's getting bigger. I mean, not just us, but everybody.
Yeah.
But there's different. It's not just like everybody knows who Taylor Swift is.
Totally.
But turning people onto different artists is part of the thing too.
Well, and I think because you have that personal expertise in your shop, you can probably help people figure out what next record they might be interested in, based on their previous music choices.
One of the most fun things in the shop, working in the shop, is to put a record on the system,
cool.
And people are like, oh, I want to buy that, and we call it buying it right off the turntable, and it's that's like I sold that right off the turntable.
That's so cool.
It's like you hear stuff. And one thing also, a bookstore like Copperfield, us, the game store, if you shop on Amazon online for music, you're going to buy exactly what you're going to buy. There's no surprise. There's no hey, that's cool music. And that when it comes to music or movies or books, you want to hear something about an artist or that you haven't heard before.
For sure.
And you're like, oh, that's cool. Now I know them. Now there's a whole catalog of that music I can be listening to.
Yep. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Can you show us a few more too while we're looking at them?
So we talked about Taylor.
Yeah, which of course, I mean, I have tween daughters, so I know every word on there.
Well, the tween daughter world.
That's. I'm told that you pronounce it. Is it Chapel? I think that's what my kids said. Okay.
So Chapel.
She's on a lot at our house.
So Chapel's the #1 recording artist.
Wow.
#1 vinyl record sales the last 3 or 4 months.
That's amazing.
She's blown up.
She's
been around a while, but she went from opening shows for other artists to now
that's what my kids
she can
said.
sell at stadiums.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I will say I am a big fan of the songs that they listen to by her. She is very talented. So
yeah. So that's a big one.
Amazing. Okay.
Some surprises, Studio Ghibli, which is animated studio.
Yeah.
They do these amazing soundtracks, and I think we're the only place in town that really sells them. And they're all these amazing soundtracks like Totoro and different animated soundtracks game soundtracks, animated soundtracks, they all sell. And that one, those are super popular for the younger folks. I showed a couple other ones. We saw a lot of punk.
Yep.
So Misfits.
Absolutely. Awesome.
So Misfits, we love Misfits.
Yep.
So any punk rock sells a lot. And then, we do appeal. Jack White playing this week at the at the Phoenix.
Yes.
He's doing a surprise pop-up show
cool.
Thursday. So we have all of our Jack White and White Stripes albums out. And then, we also sell used records. So it's, some people say, hey, vinyl can be expensive, but we have lots of really nice, this Boston classic rock from the late 70s, 80s. And this album's $5 used.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And we clean all the records that we buy there.
Right.
So you can
Beautiful.
See all clean and re-sleeved. So you can buy new albums, but you can also really get great deals on used stuff.
On used ones. Brilliant. Yeah.
We talked about collector records. We have our collector wall. These are fancier records.
That's amazing.
So this is a rare bootleg of Alice in Chains.
Wow.
So this is going to sell for $220.
That's incredible.
But that's that kind of stuff happens too.
Yep.
We talked about the pumpkin for Halloween.
I was so excited about
which
that.
is always fun. And then our shop in Boulder, this came into our shop in Boulder. Norman Greenbaum. So the album's called Petaluma.
Stop.
Yeah. So he wrote, you know that song "Spirit in the Sky"? It's like in a million movies and stuff.
Totally.
But that was it. And then he had this one album
called Petaluma,
which tanked. But
that's okay. It's about a great town.
But it's a great town. But it you can see.
Oh my gosh!
It's got like pictures of him and comics of the farm and.
Wow.
And it even talks about. And it's a really good album. But
are you selling this one or holding on to it? I feel like you need to hold on to this.
We're not going to sell this.
Good choice.
Yeah, the name of the album is Petaluma. It says in the 1920s, Petaluma was the largest poultry center and egg basket of the world. It is often referred to as the place from whence the call of the hen circled the globe.
That is incredible.
Yeah. So we get all sorts of fun stuff like that. So
wow. That is so special.
Yeah. So
oh my gosh. So, yeah. I love that. I'm so glad you brought these in.
Yeah.
So what's your personal connection to vinyl records, and do you have a favorite record in your collection?
Well, I brought my favorite record.
Yay.
Talking Heads 77.
Awesome, yeah.
So I am I graduated high school in 1984, which is the greatest year of music history. So
it's the year I was born, just so you know.
There you go. So 1984, Purple Rain, Prince Purple Rain came out. Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run. Madonna is number one. Michael Jackson, all that was like peak of all of those folks. And right in the middle there, late 70s, early 80s was the Talking Heads. Amazing. And this is their first album from 77. But I remember going to the movies and seeing Stop Making Sense, which is, I think, the best concert movie of all time. But this one was where they took off. This was when they took off, and the big hit off of this was Psycho Killer. And that was like, it just felt so different and new and fresh. And I became like a super fan of the Talking Heads and ended up buying all their albums.
I love that.
Being super excited about it. So yeah.
That is so cool. Thank you for bringing that in. That's special. So kind of feeding off of that question, would this be like the album that had an impact on your life, or is there any other albums that you could really say had a special impact on your life?
There's all sorts of albums that have impacts on your life. I think the thing about music is it is kind of it's kind of a time machine. So it's like you can think about music and your memory becomes instantly clear. Like my mother-in-law, Catherine, she's 91. So I like to play this game where I play the hit songs from the year that they graduated high school.
Yeah.
So she graduated high school in 1951.
Wow.
And her memory's okay.
Yeah.
But it's like you would play 10 seconds of the song from the year she graduated high school. She's like,
wow.
She's like, that was Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
This is the song. So I think that kind of connects to people's memories. And I think that there's something, emotionally connecting to music that I think it makes people happy or it triggers a memory. So there's so many albums I can think of, especially now.
Yeah.
Being in the shop.
Yeah.
You just hear music all day long. So.
That's so cool. Yeah, I will say at home or camping or anything like that, we're never playing anything current. We're always playing oldies or 80s or, and so it is funny how that triggers that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
those memories.
And then my kids, they, they're in their late 20s, early 30s, and they're, and some of the music they love so much is the stuff that was the road trip music that we would play.
Yes.
So they're like, or they know stuff that's kind of obscure that I liked, back in those days.
That's so cool. When I was a kid, we would always have the Beatles on road trips. Yeah. So both of my daughters fell asleep every night listening to the Beatles because for me that was like, so I love that.
Yeah, the Beatles are like the sun. It's like, everybody, it's just a given. You accept the Beatles are the best.
Yep, obviously. My husband would disagree, but I absolutely, there's no question.
The eternal arguments, Beatles versus Stones.
Right.
And Elvis is somewhere there. So.
I mean, Elvis is good too. It's funny, actually, my kids listen to Elvis as well, so he's made quite a comeback. Yeah.
It is interesting from my era in the 80s. It's amazing. There is certain artists that have stood the test of time that have become even more popular now. Like, for example, like the Smiths or the Cure.
Right.
It's kind of like, mopey music when you're dressed in black when you're 18. It's like, well, every kid goes through that phase.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, those records
resurface.
Yeah, and it's interesting how certain artists kind of have faded, but other artists that weren't necessarily the biggest artists at the time, like The Cure, have continued to be big and bigger. So
I mean, I was just listening to The Cure last week.
Yeah,
I think, I'm getting ready for the day, so that's funny. Yeah, that is funny. So So how do you connect with the community here? And we talked about having the music on in the store, door open, dogs. And do you have any kind of role with the music scene here? I mean, you seem to know like what's going on at the Phoenix, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, well, Donovan works in the shop. He's in high school, but he's got a punk band. And
how cool!
And he regularly plays at the Phoenix. Great, because they're an all ages venue. Yep. It's really if you want to listen to music and you want to go to an all ages venue, that's the one right there. Yep. And then the Mystic is right around the corner from us, so we regularly do when they have artists. Sometimes we'll get tickets and we'll do raffles and give
that's
away.
Fun. Yeah.
And nice thing is, right across from where you guys are and right across from our store is the load in for the Mystic.
Yes.
So the band buses show up, and then oftentimes the band will wander down to the shop. So
wow, I didn't even think about that. Great point.
We get a lot of that connection, which is good too. And I think, it is about being part of the community and community building. So there is like always connecting and talking to customers. We're really lucky in a way. Dana, who's worked in the store, he's been kind of a veteran in Petaluma. He kind of knows everybody in the music scene.
Awesome.
So he's about 10 years older than me, but it's kind of a joke in the store, or not a joke, but there's nobody that comes in the shop that Dana doesn't know.
How funny.
And who doesn't know him. Yeah. And oftentimes when I'm the only one there, they'll be like, "Where's Dana?" And I was like, "Well, I'm here today." And you can tell they're a little disappointed.
A little bit of disappointment.
Yeah. But I think that's helped to make connections. And then just being curious with other businesses and talking to other folks. And, we're real good friends with Avanage, which is right around the corner. And they're Damien, who runs that shop. And we're doing a music record show event with some of the other local records shops and dealers in a couple weeks. So you make
that's cool.
You make those connections too.
Yeah. I know, and I actually was not there for this day. Yeah. We host pickleball here. Oh, yeah. And I know you came and did, or someone did.
We did a couple did that.
Exactly. That's so cool. Yeah. I missed both of those ones. I don't participate in the pickleball. I'm going to learn how, but I do like to sit and watch and enjoy the community. Do you have any live music in your shop at all, or is there not really the space for that?
We've done a few live music things. We've had either right in front of the shop, we had the Reckless Strangers or a local band, and then we've had a few other kind of music stuff in the store. We don't have a ton of space for live stuff. Yeah. But we do a little bit like that. We do a regular events. Probably the biggest events we have are our new album release listening parties. Oh, how cool. So we get access to the album, and we're able to play it a week before it comes out to the public. Wow! So in a lot of cases, and we do special listening parties. So we just did a Coldplay one last night.
Oh my gosh!
And we have T-shirts and giveaways to give for that kind of stuff.
That's amazing.
And then we've had last Green Day album. We had 400, 500 people in the shop.
No way!
It was crazy. Just like people were very excited about that.
Yeah, that's an exciting thing.
And then the other one, which recently happened last month, was Sabrina Carpenter, her first album, one with Espresso, and
another one that's in my car all the time.
Yeah, I'm working late. I'm a singer.
Yep.
But that was a midnight show.
Oh, how cool is that?
So we had kids lining up at 8 p.m. Yeah. And then the show went on at 11. We played the album, and then we could sell it after that.
Wow, what a good idea.
Yeah, so we're regularly getting those kind of special listening events.
That's a huge community builder.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we do trivia night once a month. We do music trivia.
Stop. What night is that?
It is the second Thursday of every month.
Oh, my gosh.
And we have, the most popular part is Name That Tune. Yep. And then we do trivia questions, and, we ask people to bring your own chair and beverage.
I love that.
So people bring their own chair and they bring their own beverage. We have snacks, and then we do trivia for an hour or two. And it's been a lot of fun.
I think
and
my
a lot of
husband
folks
and
from
I
the
will have
community.
to join. We'll just wheel office chairs across the street.
Yeah.
And come join you for that. That sounds amazing.
Over and do it. Yeah.
I promise we'll bring them back, Sean. That's so funny. So what is the most unique record you've ever came across? I think that Petaluma one is pretty unique.
That Petaluma one's very cool. The one of the most unique records we sold is Rolling Stones, 1969. It was a radio promo album, and there was only about 200 copies pressed. So there were different versions of music that came out later, but there were different versions. So this lady came in, and she said, "I want to sell this record." And it was just one record. And she didn't I don't think she knew what she had.
Whoa.
And we always, we pay fairly
Yeah.
for all records.
Yeah.
So we started looking it up, and and it was like, holy cow, this is
Wow.
a very rare record. She's like, I didn't know. I just had this one record in my house, and I was like,
How random.
how random. And it was
Yeah.
like, so she didn't know it was like this crazy valuable record.
I'm glad she didn't just put it
Yeah.
in the Goodwill bin.
Exactly. so that ended up selling for $650.
Unreal. Wow.
So that's the thing when people
Yeah.
we're always buying used records, and we either pay cash or we trade, and a lot of times people think, this Beatles album's
Yeah.
going to be,
But there's so many.
but there's there was 25 million
Yeah.
Abbey Roads, so
Yep.
but it's really the more obscure records in your collection
Interesting.
that are going to end up if they have real value.
Right.
Those are the ones that are either misprints or promos, or there was something unique or interesting
Yeah.
about it. So those are always, you get so many records in, and it's always fun when you get a gem like that.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, to even think. And you mentioned trades. That's a great idea. So people could come trade their old records and get new ones.
Yeah. So basically, we pay cash, and we look up all the records on a service called Discogs, which is
Okay.
like the Wikipedia of records.
That makes sense.
So it shows how many people want it, have it. We look at the condition of the records, and then if we're going to sell it for $10, then we're going to give you a third of that in cash,
Right.
$3.25, or we'll give you half in trade. So
Oh, I love
$5
that.
in trade. So we tell a lot of people have records. There's if there's records you got and you didn't really like or listen to,
Yeah.
or you have duplicate copies,
Right.
bring them in and trade them, and then you can get records that you want.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So that's a regular thing. So we have people bringing in records, and we do house calls too. So,
Wow. Do you sell, in addition to the records, do you sell anything to play them on a record player?
Yeah. So we sell. We're our main record turntable distributor for Audio-Technica, which are excellent turntables, and they range from $200 for a turntable up to $500 or $600 for a turntable. We also sell audio engine speakers, which are powered speakers, so you don't need an amplifier, you just need a turntable and the speakers. Some of the modern turntables from Audio-Technica are also Bluetooth as well.
Oh, wow.
So if you already own a Bluetooth
You
speaker,
can connect it.
and then we set up the turntable for you. We balance.
Oh,
wow. We put all the pieces together. We make sure the tone arms balance. We give you a free slip mat, so you literally just lift it out of the box and
How
put it on your
cool.
counter.
And it's ready to go.
Yeah, so like last Christmas season, we sold a
I'm
lot
sure.
of turntables.
Yeah, I'm sure. I bet you will this year too.
Yeah. And a fair amount of CD players and cassette players too.
Oh, wow. You have cassette players?
Yeah, we have the old school Walkman, or the modern version of Walkman. So a lot of teenagers want that walking around with a CD kind of music.
Do they really? That is so cool. I wonder if I
Yeah.
have any old ones. I definitely have CDs.
Yeah. Well, we always buy CDs. We always buy cassettes.
I mean, I don't even think mine have cases or anything. They're all in sleeves.
Unfortunately, we can't buy
I was
those.
going to say, I'm pretty sure you don't want them. But that is really cool. Wow, I love that. So kind of coming off the shop a little bit and off the business, what are 3 fun facts about you personally?
About me personally,
Everyone's least favorite question to answer.
I've got to I hung out backstage with Paul McCartney.
Oh
at a
my
show
gosh, how cool.
In London, because with Whole Foods we were doing a line of vegetarian meals.
Wow,
with Paul McCartney and his daughter, so we got to kind
How
of hang out
cool.
and go to dinner with them. So that's pretty cool.
That's incredible.
I got to do that also with Bono, which was
No
which was kind
way.
of crazy over the years.
That's incredible.
I regularly volunteer in Africa with our friends at Mbutu in
Wow.
a community called Mahi Mahiu, and it's women with disabled children there.
Wow.
So my wife and I have been on a couple trips, and we've helped a lot over the years with kind of growing that community.
I love
in
that.
Africa. So encourage you, if you've never been to Africa, go to Africa.
I have a friend who just went, and her pictures were
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of amazing thing.
Yeah.
I have pretty encyclopedic knowledge of the Kennedy assassination.
Wow.
So if you want to know about any
Yeah.
theories or extra,
That's
how
cool.
many gunmen were involved or anything like that. Over the years,
That's
I think
cool.
I've read every book on that topic.
No
so.
way. That is awesome. Those are really good fun facts. I always feel like I stump people. That was very, you nailed that. That's amazing. Is there anything that I may have missed that you think listeners would want to know, or anything you want to tell us about your business that I may have forgotten about?
Well, I think listening to some of your other podcasts, I think there is a similar vein, but the the customer is so important. And, I think what I call, there's table stakes, which is basic hospitality.
Yep.
Is every customer getting greeted? Are you offering to help? Are you thanking them for coming in? Even if they didn't buy anything,
Yep.
are you doing those kind of things? And that doesn't happen at every business. So
Agree.
And so I think it's super important for us that, we're welcoming and part of the community.
Yep.
And one of the things when we talk with our staff and, from Dana and Hannah and Justice and John and Eli and who did I miss? I think I got the crew there. And Hannah, of course, assistant manager, is that, everything we sell you can buy online.
Yeah.
And pretty much, unless you're doing a service like a restaurant or a nail salon, if you're selling products,
Yep.
they can buy it online. So,
Yep.
why you've got to be that special place that people will get up off the couch and come
Yes.
into your shop. And if you're really going to support your local community, you're going to buy stuff at the local shops, which pays the taxes, which fixes the roads, and does all that other kind of stuff. So you just got to make sure you're you got to wow the customer, and if you're not, then it is so easy to just slip back into purchasing online. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that reminder. I think that's so important. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Especially as we're getting kind of into the holiday season.
Yeah.
It's so easy just to check off that list online, but you're not going to get the same service, the touch, the information, the
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be supporting our local economy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And ultimately, musicians.
Great
the
point.
big thing is, on average, if a artist sells a record,
Right.
there's different statistics, but it's between 100 and 1,000% more than they would get per stream.
Wow.
So, I think the last time I read it, I think it was somewhere around 10,000 streams is the same what they would get paid if they sold one
Unreal.
one album.
Oh my gosh.
So,
okay.
So you're supporting musicians and music if you're buying physical media. So,
That's a good point though, because in thinking about it, and I'm getting a little bit, I guess not off topic, but what would be the most common medium that people are purchasing right now if they're not streaming? Is it records? Can you still get cassettes and CDs of things? I don't even know.
Yeah, so records in the U.S., brand new records, were over $2 billion in sales last year, and that's grown for the last 15 years straight.
Wow.
CDs fell off, and now they're starting to climb back
Interesting.
again. So that's interesting to see.
Yeah.
And then cassettes fell off, but then cassettes have started to grow again.
Yeah.
So all forms of physical media are growing. I mean, the vast majority of music, the money is paid to streaming. It's what you pay to Apple.
Totally.
It's what you pay to Spotify. That's where the majority of the money is. But the money is for those companies for the most part. One of the reasons why you see bands touring endlessly all the time now is that's how they make money.
Yep.
It's not from the records.
Interesting.
So I think unless you're Taylor Swift.
Well, yeah.
So, but I think that's part of it too. So just starting to understand like how you're spending your money and how that can affect. It's got such big ripple effects. That beyond keeping our downtowns active and exciting to supporting local artists. We sell local artist records. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So that's the kind of thing I think is important. So
yeah. I love that. Yeah, and for anyone who hasn't been downtown Petaluma for a while to go shopping, I mean, the opportunities are endless. I could shop all day out down here and eat my way through the town as well.
Yeah, well, we get the morning shop because we're right next to our friends at Abbott Coffee. We get the lunch shop because of Lunchette.
Great point.
And then we get the pre-concert, pre-dinner shopping.
I love that.
Yeah.
You probably get a lot too, I would guess, after school when all the kids are walking around downtown.
We get a lot of the folks. And it's interesting. It's like, and kids' music taste is all over the place. They're interested because they have all music available to them. So it is interesting talking to, and we have regular customers that are teens and tweens and come with mom, come with dad.
Yeah.
And and it's something that you can come and you can do together as a family. And even if your tastes are different, you can, if you have a turntable, it's like we're all in the record store.
I love
and we're
that.
all kind of connecting that way.
That's a great idea too. Yeah, for everybody to come down. That's really, that's amazing. I love that. So one more time, if you could let everybody know where you're located and also where they can find you on social media and website and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah, so we're at the corner of B in Kentucky, 316 B. So right downtown Petaluma, again, right across the street from the hardware store and the historical library. So super, not hard
Great
to find
location.
us.
Yeah.
and,
yeah.
And, sometimes I think Sonoma County, sometimes people are like, oh, what about parking? There's actually
a lot of parking
there's
over
a
here.
lot of parking over here.
I agree with you.
So it's not really an issue. So
You're kind of between two parking garages as well when you think about it. Yeah.
And we're open 7 days a week, 11 to 7. So,
Great.
You can shop anytime, super consistent. Paradise Found _Petaluma is our IG.
Perfect.
You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on TikTok. And we also have our website, which has the complete inventory of both
that's great.
Petaluma and Boulder.
Yeah.
So you can, if you're like, oh, I want to order a record and I want to send it to my brother in Denver.
Yeah.
You can just
That's a great idea.
You can just do it on the website. So there's
okay.
probably 20,000 records on the website. So,
and have them shipped to whoever for holidays.
or shipped to you.
Shipped to you.
Or the other important thing is any record that you buy on the website, if you have it sent to the store, it's free shipping.
Perfect. Okay.
So if you're like, oh, I really want that record, it's not in Petaluma, but it's on their website, like you can order it and pick it up a couple days later.
I love that.
And we do special orders all the time. So we get customers who, there's some obscure stuff that we might not carry all the time, but if it's available through our distributors, we'll order it. Comes in the next week, and you don't have to pay for it.
That's fantastic.
So
it's almost like if you are into online shopping, you still can and
you
support
still
your
can.
business.
You
yes.
still can.
That's brilliant. I love it. That's
so,
fantastic.
But yeah, I think there's lots of opportunities to connect. And then as I tell people in the community, and a lot of people do, it's like, if you just want to come in and listen to music with us, come hang out.
Yep.
So.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate it.
And thanks for doing the podcast.
Oh, I have gotten to meet the most amazing people. Cool. So, well, thank you. And thank you for listening.
If you like what you hear, please be sure to like and subscribe, learn more about Sonoma County and all that we have to offer here.